Hi, everyone. Oh my God. Welcome to the first day of Awakening Possibility. We had an amazing session in the morning where we went really deep into meditation and understanding what we believe is who you are, what you believe is who you are, and the importance of understanding that for us to create the reality that we deserve. And right now we have our wisdom session, and I'm so excited for these two women. They are so amazing and powerful. And oh my God, I have learned so much from both of them. And yeah, I just can't wait for you to just relax and enjoy everything that they have to share for you. There's so much wisdom that is going to come. And I just want you to allow everything that needs to come for you to just allow yourself to experience it. And you don't even have to write. Everything's going to come and flow through you. So without anything else to say about that, I want to introduce first Natalie, which is, oh my God, Natalie is amazing. We met through life. Really, life got us connected out of no reason at all. It's just like, and I trust those connections so much. She's a soul essence astrologer and facilitator. And her mission is to empower you to embody your full magic. Aside from reading birth charts, coaching clients on how do you utilize the stars in their purpose, their business, and their pleasure. She speaks and teaches at events and retreats around the world. Yeah. I mean, I the first time I saw her, we were in Egypt and she was a speaker there. And she's the creator and teacher of the Cosmic Earth School of Astrology. Natalie is obsessed with all things of the subconscious and facilitates transformational sessions around prosperity, mindset, and fully living your life mission. And I'm going to pin Natalie here. Oh my God. Hi, love.
Hello, Sabrina. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you. And yes, life definitely did bring us together in the funniest of ways. And I love that.
Yes, I love that because it really, we both trusted our intuition and it just happened. And I'm so excited that you're here because you have so much wisdom and I really connected so deeply with you. And I just can't wait for you to share how is that you connected with your Asian soul wisdom, really, and how important is to do that to understand who we are. So if you want to add anything to what I just said about you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got it. I think the other piece is just, I mean, I even love the way that you and I met was really through Instagram. And it was this funny thing where I was in this incredible transformational program last summer and posted, if anyone is interested in something like this, send me a message. And Sabrina messaged me and ended up coming and doing the program. And I think that that is just like a hit and a testament to when you trust your intuition and when you trust, like, I'm just going to say yes to this random thing and this random person who I've never met, but it feels good and I'm getting this fuck yes in my body. Like, the more that we follow that, that's where the magic is at. And that personally for me is what I try to live by, even though other people might be like, you're crazy or you're doing this or whatever, but it's like, the more delusional that we can be, like, there's a reason for that. It's God's plan for us because we are supposed to be bigger than a lot of times we even realize that we are. We're never too much, we're never too big. And when we lead with that, that's when our true purpose comes alive.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned that because it's really important to understand how much we deserve in order to allow opportunities to come. And this event is all about that, right? Like awakening possibilities. It means creating the space for us to create those possibilities and create a life that we deserve. And talking about that, how do you think that that relates to you? How do you start creating more possibilities in your life?
Ooh, girl, it's like it. I think that, the first thing is always our mindset. It's always really realizing, okay, what's possible for my life. And it's really, we're just going to dive right in. It's breaking out of the matrix. It's breaking out of realizing that we are conditioned from day one. We are programmed, whether that's from our parents or that's from, you know, society telling us that this is what's beautiful, this is what's smart, this is what's successful, having this amount of money or looking like this or having this body type or whatever that is, and realizing what actually resonates with me or not. And if a lot of that stuff doesn't resonate with you, if it actually makes you feel bad, then that's your first clue. And the possibility is what actually makes me feel good. And taking time to be alone and sit with that, or maybe you're with friends and you're like, this feels good, this thing feels good, and starting to take notes of what makes me feel good. And then how is it that you create more of that, you know? And the way that you do create more of that is by first getting clear on what it is that you want that actually does feel good, and then the surrender, right? And then the taking whatever action is necessary. And for me, when a lot of this really also started to hit home is when I pulled astrology in. When I learned astrology, it was kind of this random remembering that happened about 4 years ago. And when I saw my birth chart and it told me you're Leo rising, and Leo is the energy of being an actor and a performer and a leader and someone who's warm and who wants to have fun and all the things, I was like, oh, this makes sense of why when I was little, I always wanted to be an actress. This makes sense why I love singing. This makes sense why I love leading. And these things where it just pointed that out. And it's like when you have this additional tool that shows you all of your capabilities, it's like there's endless possibilities, because those dreams that you had when you were 6 years old that all of a sudden you decided to not do anymore, it's right there in front of you that, oh, wait, this is actually part of your purpose in this lifetime on planet Earth.
Yes. And I love that, because it really makes you understand how is that you are able to create what you want, because you understand who you are so deeply. And now that you actually mentioned that, you know so much about astrology, and it has helped you so much in your life, create so many amazing things. And how do you think is important to understand our signs, and how do we use that to create, like, to connect with our power?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is so important because it is empowering. I'm actually writing a book about this right now. And it's kind of like, you know, if we look at the hierarchical of the world, you know, when we come back to it, like source, energy, God, whatever you want to call it, there is a creator, and that creator created the planets for you. And they created the planets for you so that you can actually come in and note what are the signs that I'm given as this additional tool of who I get to be in this lifetime. And when we learn the superpowers and the shadows of these signs, we know, okay, if I am a Scorpio, I know that I have this power to be transformational, that I get to be magnetic, that I get to be piercing with my words and with my actions, and that I also get to be in this place where the shadow could be that I'm vengeful, or that I'm, you know, gossiping, or that I and addictive, you know. And so you get to see the superpower and the shadow, and you get to have the awareness and also the self-compassion of, oh, maybe that's why I did that when I was 19 years old, because I didn't have the consciousness yet. But now when I'm this age, or even, you know, if you are 19 years old, and you can have that and see, here's the two options that, like, I might really deviate into and go into, and we get to choose, because there's subconscious patterns that we're going to want to do. But the moment that we realize, okay, there's actually a fork in the road and I can take a different way, then that's where you actually have all of the power back, and you can use this to know, I really do have the choice. I really do have the free agency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so powerful, right? Because it's like you're really using the energy of whatever is coming to you and who you are as in your chart, for you to create all these things in your life. And talking about that, and this is your son of genius around what's happening with the planets right now, and how can we use this energy in this moment for us to create. For example, in these 5 days that we're creating a lot, trying to shift a lot of things in our life, how can we use the energy in this moment for us to create that?
Yes, I love this. Okay, so we actually have three huge things. I mean, we always have a million things going on the planets, right? Like literally the moon changes signs every 2.5 days. So that's something to even just know in itself, that like this too shall pass. Whatever you're going through, whether it's a really amazing thing or like something that's really hard, everything changes in life. That is the only constant, is change. And we can track the moon with that too. Like, oh, I was feeling so tired. Well, the moon was in, Pisces, whatever that looks like. But right now, specifically, there's three things I want to cover. So as of, let's see, I have this next to me. Yeah, as of basically very early this morning, actually, Venus, which is the sign of abundance, it's the sign of love, it's the sign of the things that we like to do and the things that we desire and the way that we love, just moved into Virgo. And Virgo is the sign of the Virgin. It's the sign of service. And so right now we're in this period of moving into how can we be more service oriented? What is it that I'm doing in my life where I'm somehow giving back? And so I love that this challenge started today, because this is a full service challenge,
Literally.
right? All of us being uplifted and seeing what is the possibility that we can awaken to, that is anything that's going to allow you to be of more service in the world. And to be of service in the world, you must be wealthy, and that doesn't just mean financial wealth, but financial wealth is a big part of that, because with financial wealth, that is how we serve on the largest mass. And so being a good person, where you're lighting up someone's day with a smile, or saying, how is it that I can serve by being that transformational person, or how is it that I can be outside of my own mindset, giving, but also knowing how is it that I get to be the most abundant in my own life, in my health, in my finances, in my time, in my community. Like, you have to do the things that fill you up, because you can't serve from an empty cup. And so this is really the time to fill up your cup first, fill up your cup, fill up your cup first, and then serve to other people, because a lot of times the shadow of Virgo is that it can actually be kind of a martyr. It can be like, I'm doing so much for you, and I, save away, and I work all these hours, and I can't get myself healthy. Whatever the story is, we have to check in on what that story is. And you are number one, because you are the star of your life. Everyone else is a co-star. You are the star. And then we bring that out, and that's where we can really be of service. So that's the first thing. We have Venus in Virgo. We also have Jupiter is moving through Taurus, and Jupiter moves through signs for about a year and a half. And Jupiter moved into Taurus last May. So it's been here for about 5 months, and it's going to be here for another like 6 to 7 years, or 6 to 7 months or so. And what this is that this is an expansion of our values, and also of the way that we're being grounded and having the resources to actually live out our values. So for everyone, we're actually in this expansive state of expanding. What is it that you do that makes you feel like you are at home, right? And you don't have to be at home to feel at home. Maybe traveling is at home to you. I'm actually traveling right now, and that feels very at home to me. Maybe it's the people that you're surrounded by. Maybe it's the flowers that are in your house. Maybe it's that you're learning a new cooking skill, or you're taking better care of your health, or this Taurus actually rules money. So you're taking care of your money, and this is a time that if we really step into it, that everyone can actually be more financially abundant, which is kind of this funny juxtaposition with where we are even in the economy right now, of it kind of being in this place that seems like it's sinking. It's actually a place that maybe if you're not in that abundance financially, it's because you're supposed to be doing something else, or you're supposed to be opening yourself up to possibilities of what else there is, because Jupiter it always expands the things, and Taurus is, what are those building blocks so that I can build my house not on sand but on a firm foundation, and making sure that you have the right materials. And if you think about a house, you have the materials, you have the builders. It's like, what do you need to do for that in your life? Do you have the right people? Do you have the right coaches? Do you have the right mindset? Really getting super, super clear on that, so that you can be confident in building your house, building your life. And then the final piece is we have the North Node in Aries, and the North Node is the piece of destiny. It's what we're all stepping into and learning lessons, sometimes the hard way. And this is, the Aries energy is all about independence. And it's about, you know, really, Aries is number one. And a lot of people actually don't talk about how spiritual Aries is, but Aries is like spiritual goddess leader, you know, because you are out here, you came first. And so we all are in this energy of learning, what does it mean to put myself first? What does it mean to be that one who is not afraid to stand up and be the first fire? You know, it's one of the first verses in the Bible, let there be light. Like, you get to be, let there be light. And this is this year period to be that lighthouse, and combine it also with that Jupiter and Taurus of be that lighthouse to bring in the wealth of every area of your life.
Wow. I'm like, I love this. I love that you can actually use all those tools for you to use that energy in order to create these things. And also at the same time, one question that came for me right now is, I understand all these things that you just said, and what do you tell, or what do you say to people that are struggling to understand how important the energetics around us, like the importance of that? How do they tune into that when they feel so lost? Like today in the morning, all these people that were sharing on their chat, they felt so disconnected, lost. They didn't know, they didn't have too much clarity on what to do next. How do they use these tools that you just share for them to be able to connect again with themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first thing is, you know, look at your birth chart. And if you can get a reading and have access to that, then definitely get a reading. But also, I think that one of the greatest things, and to me personally, one of the ways that I learned astrology, when I learned astrology, I had heard this one thing. I had heard that my Jupiter was in Pisces, and that Pisces is the energy where the shadow of Pisces, or something that you have to learn with the karma of Pisces, is the experience of loneliness. And I used to experience a lot of loneliness and feel a lot of separation, because separation is the opposite of what Pisces is actually really about, which is oneness. And so when I learned that, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like something has been speaking to me my entire life. Why have I felt this weird sense of loneliness, even though I'm a Taurus? And then all of a sudden it's like your Jupiter is there. And it was like the universe was like, I got you, baby girl. Like, we're gonna, you know, you can learn this now. And so I found a reader, or I found an astrology teacher. And what I started to do, though, and this is what I would recommend for people, is, you know, depending on what type of learner you are, figure out where is your sun, moon, rising, and Jupiter, because those are these 4 kind of keys that are really going to give you this deep insight into who you are. And learn these things. The sun is your essence. The sun is naturally, you are here to experience the karmas and the shadow and the superpower of those things. Like, that is just your soul essence. Your moon sign is what you feel on the inside. So even though you might be showing up, you're with your friends, you're at work, you're on video, whatever it is, you might look like a completely different version than what's actually happening on the inside. On the inside, you might be super anxious or nervous or insecure or scared, or just experienced a trauma or something, but you're like, I'm still showing up. The moon sign is what shows your emotions, and it also is what shows your needs. So it's the way that you need to either communicate, or the way that you really, it's really the way that you take care of yourself. And it's that maybe a core group of like 10 to 15, maybe 5 people, maybe 2 people actually know about you, because it's so internal. And then the rising sign, the rising is what you're here to step into. And so you might get these little pings, like how when I found out I was a Leo rising, it was like, oh, but I always had a fear of speaking until about, I don't know, 6 years ago or so. And that was the time that then I learned, okay, because I have this Leo rising energy that is supposed to be warm and lead and all of that, it allowed me to say, okay, this is what I'm rising into. This is what I'm here for. Then let me step deeper into that. So look up those 3 things. Remembering your rising is what you're here to rise into or ascend into. That's why it's called the ascendant. And then finally, Jupiter is really important to know, because Jupiter is like this gift that you have. Jupiter is, it's, people call it the Santa Claus of the zodiac. And I love that, because it's like these additional, like, jolly gifts that you have. And it's also where we just have this additional energy. And so it's going to give us that. And to really know what is the shadow specifically of the Jupiter as well, because Jupiter goes big. Jupiter is like a go hard or go home type of planet. And so it's good to know what is the shadow of whatever sign and house that's in. And a good way that you can learn this is, like I said, like you can study with an astrologer, you can, read books. But for me personally, I had multiple teachers, but I was obsessed with YouTube videos. And what that did for me is that I would listen to such a huge variety of astrologers. So I was getting, information from a British woman in her 80s in the UK. And then I was getting information from a Black guy who's in his 20s. And I was getting information from a punk rock girl in, Ireland. Like, it was so cool because I was getting all these different opinions, and that way you're able to hear things and take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. And so you really want to make sure that you're getting that diverse education, because nothing is just one way, all is objective.
Yes. I love that you talked about that, because it's exactly what I was saying today in the morning. The importance of understanding what resonates with us is because it's our truth. And I don't think that really anyone has the absolute truth, but we're going to talk based on our own experience, and everyone's is going to resonate with us as long as we are magnetically attracted to our own truth. And I feel like that's very important that you touch on that, because there's so many places and things that we can hear, and that's why it's so important to tune into our intuition and know that there's a reason why that person is calling me, and there's a reason why I feel so connected to this wisdom. Yes. Yes. And oh my God. And I think we have 5 minutes left, and in these 5 minutes, I would love for them to know how they can connect more with you. I have your Instagram link here that I can share, but how are the ways they can connect deeper with you if they want to do more astrology, or if they want to connect deeper with you? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So Instagram, definitely. And then also I have a school called the Cosmic Earth School of Astrology that you can buy and go through at your own pace. And then I do also offer readings. So we can do a reading basically on anything that you're looking for, whether it's soul purpose overall, or whether it's about, your solar return. Every single year on our birthday, we actually get a new chart. So we have our chart that is kind of our chart for all time, but then every single year we have this additional layer of energy. And it's really cool to just see what exactly is going on for you that year. And it just is a really beautiful kind of guiding light. And then I also do work with something called Psych-K, which is about rewiring your subconscious. And that is really powerful. What I'll do is we'll go through together and look at your chart and see what are these things that you're made for, and also what are some of your challenges or some of your limiting beliefs that are in the way, and go through and be able to rewire some of those stories using this modality. It's really powerful.
I love that. Thank you so much, love. You're amazing. And oh my God, all the people that are going to be watching the recording, we have more than 95 people that register for this event and are watching the recordings. And I'm so excited that they get to connect with you. And everything that you just share is incredible. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And thank you. And if you want to connect with her, I put the link in the chat, and I'm also put it on the email later with the recordings. Thank you so much, love.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you.
Much love.
Love you.
Love you.
Perfect. Now I want to introduce, oh my God, this woman is incredible too. Every time I'm around her, it's like activates my energy right away. And I have created so many things in my life because I met her. And that's the reason why I want her to be here. Yes, Donna. I love her so much. I love her so deeply. And I think she has so much wisdom and so many things to share. And I'm going to share a little bit about who she is. So Nicole Lovince, she's a multi-hyphenate talent. She's an actress, she's a singer, a songwriter, podcaster, public speaker, and certified Theta Healer. She's a creator and curator of the Goddess Path experience. She helps women from diverse backgrounds create and learn to sustain a ritual self-care practice called the Goddess Bath, which is incredible. An intentional, ritualistic bath that will transform you inside and out. Nicole brings her unique gifts of performance, ritual bath experience, and intuitive healing methods to the curation of the Goddess Bath experience. The Goddess Bath experience also curates monthly events, group coaching programs, and Goddess Bath subscription boxes that include the products and a process that leads women to experience inner transformation, and so much more that she can share right now. Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Sabrina. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me on. I feel so honored to be here in your space of what you've created. So wonderful.
Thank you so much for being here. It is an honor that you're here, and I'm so happy to have you. And yeah, is there anything else you want to add to what I just said about you?
I mean, I think you like hit the nail on the head. I think the only thing I would add is just a little bit more of my background. I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, and went to college in Ohio, majored in film production, and started working in the industry right out of college. My first movie was Pitch Perfect. And from that, I got a lot of initiations from joining the Hollywood gang, the School of Hollywood, moved to LA, and really started to deep dive into my spiritual gifts. They've always been alive my entire life, especially growing up in New Orleans. It's a very mystical city. I'm sure I don't have to like tell anyone much about that place. It's pretty well known for what goes down in New Orleans, but I grew up in that environment and like making altars and doing rituals. And I learned this process of like ritual bathing from my grandparents. And yeah, I've just been in this inquiry of like, how do I meld all the things that I love, all of my gifts, my talents, and put them out as offerings into the world because it's fun for me. Also because I choose and I get to be permission for everybody around me to do the same. Like we don't get to subscribe to these boxes that society tends to put us in. That we are so much more. We're all multi-hyphenated. We are all like interconnected. I don't want to use the word complicated, but complicated for lack of a better word. No, complex, not complicated. We are complex beings. And with being complex beings, there's so many different sides and elements and aspects to us that we get to tap into. And so for me, one of my main missions is to be permission to be all that you are. Shine at your fullest and your brightest and flow and weave in and out of all the magic that is you.
Oh my God. Yeah, I love that. And talking about that, I want you to share a little bit of how you created all these dreams that you had in your life. Who did you need to be in order for you to have what you have right now?
Whew, thank you for that question. Who did I need to be? It's going to sound simple and annoying at the same time. Who I needed to be was me. And it sounds simple, but we all know how complicated that can also be when you say, just be you. How many spaces have you walked into in spaces like this when someone's like, just be you, just be you? And it's so much easier said than done, especially when you're not in an environment that allows you the safety to grow into who you are, to even be in the inquiry and discovery of who you are. And I think luckily for me, I had both. I grew up in environments where it was very much nurtured for me to be my wild, outlandish self. And I also, at the same time, had spaces where it was very oppressive to who I was. So I found myself battling myself, like wanting to shine, but also like not really being able to at the same time. And being stuck in like these trauma loops over and over before I had this awareness, before I allowed myself to like break free. And I hope I'm responding to this question because now I'm forgetting what the original question was. I have a tendency to go off on tangents.
You're perfect because you're allowing anything that needs to come through to come. And that's exactly what we need right now. But my question was just, what is that? How do you create everything that you have right now in your life?
Yeah, It's giving myself permission to do that, first of all, and like being honest about what my truth is, right? So like the way I'm able to do that it's whatever's coming up for me, like what's loudest, what's pinging me, what's that whisper, what's that screaming, that voice we all talk about, that knowing, that calling, no matter how it shows up for you, you know what I mean when I say this, and like following that every single time and like trusting it, because everything that I am, all of my slashes and my multi-hyphenates, like most of them I had no intention of like going after. It wasn't like a part of like my story that I was giving myself. It was all things that came to be because I allowed myself to answer a calling that was on my life. I allowed myself to trust my intuition and be guided by like something that showed up in my space, almost like as an offering to me from the universe. It's like, this is available to you if you choose it. And also like noticing the thread of my own life and how much all of these things were already there. They were already a part of my story. And it was just about me like giving myself permission to take those sides of me on and not choose to say, well, if I choose to be an actress, then I can't choose to also be a healer. And that was like a story that I carried. Like there was no way I could like be this Hollywood star that I wanted to be and also be this deep, intuitive, spiritual healer, shaman that I also always knew that I was. Like those two things just didn't make sense to me, at least where how I saw my vision at the time. It was like there was no way I could hold space. I had to choose. And through life experience and through inner work, self-development, spiritual healing, inner child, like inner teenager, all the things, the shadow work, all the workshops that we all do, right? Giving myself permission to explore and be in the inquiry and in the discovery of myself, in the inquiry of that, in the discovery of that, the permission then came.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I was able to give myself permission, I allowed myself to start showing up as this person, fully embodied, fully embodying all of those things. And the moment I allowed myself to do that, then I started to understand the through line of like, oh, because I am these things, then this is how it exists. I am meant to be the literal example, the expansion of what that gets to look like. And so it's about choosing to step into all sides of yourself that are already really showing up. Because any part of you that you're allowing and giving yourself permission to fully be self-expressed in, if you think and you look back to your childhood and any point of your journey, it showed up somewhere. Even if you suppress it along the way, it showed up somewhere in your experience of like, hey, I'm over here too. And it's like, are you allowing yourself permission to go there? And when I allowed myself permission to take on vocalist, then like all the possibilities opened up and awakened in my life to be the vocalist. When I allowed myself and gave myself permission to accept that, yeah, I am a healer, I am an intuitive guide, then all of those possibilities opened up. Same way with speaking, same way with traveling, same way with like everything that I do. The moment I decided and I gave myself permission, then all of the doors and the windows and the people and the places and the things started to show up as a result of. And then all I had to do was say yes. And sometimes no too, because no's are really important.
Mm-hmm.
I got to learn when to say yes and when to say no.
Yes, that's so powerful because it's understanding so deeply who you are and just also acknowledging that you can have a lot of different gifts and they're all part of who you are. There's a lot of people that feel very disconnected because they know that they have so many different gifts and they don't know where to start. But I love what you say of tuning into that and embracing every part of who we are allows us to call in all the opportunities that are gonna come in the right time. And
Yeah.
I love that. And you, all this wisdom that you just share, what are the tools that have helped you to call in these opportunities?
Yeah. One of the things I'll speak to around the tools is like looking at all of these aspects of myself in like different stages of development. And what I mean by that is like sometimes my acting career, like right now, I call my acting career like a college student, or like a recent college grad. It needs attention. It's out there in the world. It's got its own friends, its own opportunities, its own world that it's creating. But maybe Goddess Bath is more like my toddler. So it needs more of my attention because it's 3. It's a toddler. It's just getting started versus like my acting career that is like, or my singing career that's like the rebellious teenager right now. It's like it's just off discovering itself, doing its thing. So like that's one of my tools. It's like whatever I'm bringing on, like what stage of development is it in? And based on that, that's how I know how much attention I need to give it, how much momentum it's going to have on its own. And then I move accordingly. And they all weave in and out of those stages of development, depending on the level at which I am expanding into them, because I'm always in the next level of expansion in each of those things. But it's like, what am I allowing myself to be into based on what I'm choosing? So that's like one of the tools. Another one of the tools is like mentorship. Like I'm constantly like being mentored by someone, being in some sort of program, in some sort of community where I can express and grow and learn and thrive. And that's one of the ways that keeps me sharp and able to get results, because I'm getting the support that I need. I'm not out here lone wolfing it. I'm like with a tribe always. So that's probably my biggest well-kept thing, is like I am always in community. I'm always seeking and getting support across the board. Another tool is like healing work, like really constantly looking at like what's available for me, like what am I attuning to, like if I am triggered, like what about this trigger is triggering me, if that makes sense. Like really constantly being in the question of me, and in the question of like how I move through my life and how I move through my experiences and how are they affecting me and how am I responding, and like setting ground rules and boundaries for myself, and also like debriefing these experiences when they happen as well, and like really take an inventory of my experience and like learning from them constantly, because my life is my greatest teacher. And so I'm constantly in the inquiry of like, well, what did we do well here? Like what worked, what didn't work? Like, and taking what worked and duplicating that, and like whatever didn't work, okay, what didn't work? Why didn't it work? And how can I use this experience to now turn it into the blessing and turn it into the thing that does work in my life?
Yeah.
And then obviously the Goddess Bath, clearly.
Yes.
That's one of my main
And
tools.
now that you mentioned that at the end, actually, I was gonna ask you about the Goddess Bath experience, how you created that, and how your deep connection with water and ritual in your bath, and that's such a powerful space that is only you. How did you create that, and why is such a powerful tool?
Yeah, I feel like it's been something that I've been co-creating with the universe probably from my very existence. I have several different experiences, near-death experiences with water, deeply transformative experiences with water. I'm a double water sign in my major 3. I'm a Scorpio. I am a Cancer moon. So waters run deep over here. I also grew up, again, New Orleans, Louisiana, surrounded by water. It's a bowl that sits in the Lake Mississippi River, essentially. So I've always been just surrounded. And, I mentioned earlier that I learned this ritual from my grandmothers, and they didn't call it the Goddess Bath. That was something that I've named it. But I would grow up and my grandmothers would give me these very ritual herbal baths whenever I was sick or kind of going through something, and they would take herbs from the garden depending on what was going on with me and put it in the bath. And they would take different like oils and like something called Florida water. If you're from the South, you're probably familiar with Florida water, using that for healing and cleansing and ceremonies, and like putting that in the water to strip away negative and bad and unwanted energy. And it was just something that I carried with me to celebrate, to heal, to relax. And 2 things I think happened in the co-creation of like really what the Goddess Bath experience became. One was, this is something that I share in my community all the time. And Sabrina, you've probably heard the story. When I was 7, my mom was diagnosed bipolar schizophrenic. And when she came out of the mental institution, she was on a lot of medication and in and out of what she knew to be reality. And there was this one night where She had ran a tub of water. She dragged me out of bed and threw me in the tub and like held me under because she thought a demon was inhabiting her daughter. That was the reality she was living in because of the medication and her illness. And I remember just like fighting her off of me and like getting out of this experience and running into my room and like closing the door, shutting it, putting my bookcase in front of it, and like having my mom bang on the door trying to get to me. And I just remember, obviously, clearly, my experience with water and with tubs at that point in time shifted, but it wasn't like this fear that had happened. It became like this sacred ground because I felt like that was the first time I really was touched by God, like that I had awareness of, because there was something else in that experience holding me and keeping me. My second experience was, I have also shared this, I had an attempt at suicide in 2018. And like I blacked out, came to, and came back with this very clear process, which is what I teach in the Goddess Path. And so I feel like for me, you know, I've been being called to work with water and facilitate this experience using it as such a transformative tool. And even scientifically based, there's so much research that has been done on water. And when we speak to water, putting intention into water, how much water is alive. It's a living organism, and you know, it holds the key of life. Genuinely, it holds wisdom, it holds information. It's a clearing and cleansing tool. Many cultures and civilizations and societies have used water in ritual and in ceremony for thousands of years. This is like no secret. And so for me, this is like my own personal journey, but this also is like ancient work that I've just been called to do from my ancestral lineage that's just always been here. And it wasn't planned for me to do this. This is genuinely, I always say, this is like God's work for me. This is something that's completely being channeled through me because I had absolutely no intention of doing this. It just continues to be birthed through me in ways that I could never have imagined. And it's just me trusting and allowing myself to be used as a vessel of light to share my story, so that the hope is that other people have permission to share theirs, and that we break chains off of each other so we can all live a more fruitful, abundant, and connected life.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. I've heard that story before, and it always gives me chills because I understand that this is your mission. And that's why it's so powerful, all the tools that you share with me, with your community. And yeah, sending you so much love for that, because I know you chose to use your hard story and turn it into something powerful. And that's why I say about this, and what I was telling everyone in the morning, in our session in the morning, it is our choice at the end. It's our choice to hide behind the story of what happened to us, or take ownership of that and say, this is what happened to me, but I choose to not be my story as who I am, but this is who I decide to be now because of what happened to me. And I choose to take ownership, and I choose to step into my power. And that's the reason why I wanted you to be here, and Natalie as well, because you both chose to be in your power, even if it meant like making hard decisions every single day, right? Every single day, life throws so many things at us, and it's our choice to be, okay, yeah, this is gonna be hard, but I choose to be centered, and I choose to understand who I am, and I choose to keep going because there's a possibility on the other side of this. And yes, I wanted you to share more about how people can connect with you through the Goddess Path experience. I'm part of your community too, and that's how I started to connect with you. I mean, we've been together in Fiji, we've been together in Egypt, we've been together in Tulum, and now we're gonna be together in Greece. And it's just like, wow, it's like we're doing it. And I love that you're part of my life in this way. And for everyone that is here live, and for everyone that are watching the recordings, I know that you have a special gift for them as well. So yes, I leave it to you for you to share more about that.
Yeah, thank you, Sabrina, for all of that lovely magic and juiciness you just shared. So, at the Goddess Bath Experience, we have several different ways that we can connect. So, we have a monthly full moon circle membership where you can come and we gather monthly live. And I lead a guided meditation. I share a Goddess Bath recipe. We do journaling and sharing every month on the full moon. So, that's available. I also have coaching programs. My last one just finished, so we'll be offering that one next year. I have one-on-one offerings if anyone's interested in that. And then also retreats, obviously. Our next one is in Greece. So if you want to come and see me and Sabrina live together next year, April in Greece, that is available as well. But I have a gift that I want to share with the community just so you can start to get involved. So I think Sabrina has the link.
I'm
Yeah,
sharing the gift right now.
Perfect. She dropped it in the chat. So the link is to a guided meditation, ponder prompts, and then also a goddess bath recipe. So you can use the goddess bath ritual on your own, and then it also will opt you into the community. So you'll get all of our updates on when we have events. We don't spam, we only send things when we got stuff going on. So you won't hear from us a whole lot, but when you do hear from us, we have intentional things that are happening. And we do in-person events as well. We have one coming up on the 21st in Huntington Beach, California. So if anyone is local to the SoCal area, you're more than welcome to join us there as well.
Thank you so
much. And then
much.
also social media. Follow me on Instagram.
Yes, I share also. Yes, I also share your personal Instagram, the Goddess Bath Instagram. And thank you so much for that generous offer. I'm sure everyone's going to be so happy to experience that because, wow, everything that you have created is just so powerful. And I invite everyone that is watching the recorders. I'm also going to drop the link of the gift in the email for them to be able to access Nicole's work and also Natalie's, because these women are amazing and you really need to learn more about them because they have so much wisdom to share. And I am so grateful that they're part of my life. They're my soul sisters forever. And yes, I think that's everything that I wanted to share with all of you. And I just thank you so much both for being here and being part of this community today. And yes, if you have anything else you want to add, I welcome you. If not, we'll say bye here.
I'll just add that it is such an honor to be in this, and yes, to be with two of my soul sisters, and it, you know, definitely join at Nikki's Goddess Bath, and anything that Sabrina is creating is going to be nothing but magic as well. And just thank you for this opportunity. Thank you to Nicole. Nicole was actually how I even went to Egypt, and now I'm having this amazing experience of writing a book. So it's just like the possibilities that you never, ever know are waiting for you. And possibilities and miracles come through people, you know? So I love what Nikki said as well. Nikki, Nicole, same person, everyone. That, you know, it's like having the tribe and not lone wolfing it. And what, like, that is number one. That really is like, otherwise it's just so hard. You can't do it by yourself. We are humans who are here to communicate and be together and play and laugh. And joy is the greatest form of spirituality. So.
Oh my God, such a great way to end this conversation. Being the three of us together here, I just like, this is a dream for me, and being able to hold a space for all these people, for them to heal and just share the tools that have helped me on my own healing journey. It's a pleasure and it's a passion of mine. It's my mission to help people. And I know you two are in service too. And I appreciate so much what you're doing in this world. And I love you both deeply so much. And thank you everyone for being here and everyone that is watching the recording as well. So happy for this day one. We did it. Thank you so much, loves. And thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow for day 2.